Now for the first series, guys, of the day, for the Gauntlet StarCraft Legacy of the Void Series Global Finals. I'm Bobby Austin, with me is Falcon Paladin. We are excited to bring you some excellent StarCraft right away. And again, these are best of threes, all the way up until the semifinals, which will be best of fives, and the finals, of course, will be a best of seven. Legacy of the Void games they don't often go very long in comparison to the Heart of the Swarm or Wings of Liberty games. So these games fly by really quick. The action starts faster. We'll get more into that as the games go on. Just for those maybe a little bit unfamiliar with the difference between Legacy of the Void and Heart of the Swarm. So pretty stoked for that as well, guys. Also, a little reminder: head over to Twitter, follow at Gauntlet SC2, the sponsor of this event. C-Tone and the Gauntlet crew. Show them some love, and also just to follow for any future events and news. Stay up to date. Also, hit up that follow button right here on Twitch TV. Get that notification when events go live. When they go live, you want to tune in because they're always sick, Falcon. They're always sick. I may use that word a lot, but I mean it every time.
With so much sincerity every single time, I can tell. Yes,
yeah,
we just hit with 1,000 people in Twistcat. Actually, 1,000 people already watching. We haven't cast anything yet. So excited. Oh
man, so that's 1,000 wonderful human beings that can tune in for some of the best StarCraft. Guys, Dusk Towers, game number 1. We're heading into the map right now, getting this show started. This is Gauntlet StarCraft's Legacy of the Void Series Global Finals, round of 16. Bly versus J King. The map is just loading up right now.
Boom.
All right, guys, here we go. To the south of this map, Dusk Towers, we have the red Zerg player from Team Acer. It is Bly.
And to the north, in this map of Dusk Towers, we have the blue Terran player representing the nation of Russia. It is J King.
Excellent. All right, so I expect, if our previous experience with these two players are, Bly is so good in Legacy of the Void, like so good, next level, probably one of the best foreign players, never mind Zergs in the scene right now. Can he deflect the heavy aggression of J King? That's the question of the day.
And really, that's the struggle for Zergs everywhere, is dealing with that early aggression to the point they can get a good drone count up and then try to crush in the mid game. But getting out of that early game can be difficult, especially against Terran with so many harassment options available to them. But again, a player at the level of Bly should be able to hold this and deflect it, assuming things go according to plan. But with J King, you never know. You never know what to expect. Really, I would like to see a drone scout here, but again, Bly feels confident enough not to do that. The Overlords will arrive, but not soon enough to see exactly what that first play is from our Terran player.
Yeah, we got the hatch first going down for Bly on the forward expansion, which I like that choice. Better to get out the creep faster, spread it across that map. And also, it's not too hard to defend on this map either. In Legacy of the Void, Zerg's taking a hatch first isn't the biggest of deal. Despite the opening for J King, it looks like we got a Reaper on the way, indeed. And yeah, he's not likely to get anything done if Bly is on top of his workers. If any worker gets killed with this Reaper, that's a big loss to the Zerg player considering the opening.
Yeah, I'd be really surprised, to be honest, if he lost.
Very rare.
Here, just based on the timing here, his spawning pool just did now finish. A queen should be just about out by the time the Reaper shows up. And 4 lings on the way, the standard amount to defend against a single Reaper. It doesn't look there's any follow-up harassment with Reapers from J King, so Bly should be able to hold this off standard, keeping his lings on the creep, using queen for additional help. And this should just be more of a scouting Reaper than really a truly harassing Reaper when all is said and done.
Yeah, it's just to keep tabs on the Zerg player, seeing if he has speed on the way, which he does indeed. It is more just for an information scout, as you mentioned, for J King. Also, he's taking his command center, is the Terran player, and a factory going down as well. This is all pretty standard, actually, very standard, even for J King. Especially for J King, I should say.
Yeah, so far he's playing it pretty standard here. And that drone just about to die. No, turns into an extractor. Manages to stay alive. The lings and the queen should be enough to take it down. And the Reaper does fall, canceling the extractor, putting the drone back to work. Thanking its lucky stars that it did survive.
Yeah, as expected from a player the level of Bly, not to lose any units, and kept it safe. Speed is almost done, as he's still mining gas from his main base is Bly. So looking to advance his tech very soon. In fact, he does start getting the lair.
Yeah, and it looks like J King did go for the 1-1-1 build with the command center thrown in there as well, widely known as the Destiny Cloud Fist build from Husky back in the day, back in Wings of Liberty, still popular here today in Legacy of the Void in most ways. The Hellions pop out just as soon as the Lings show up. The Hellions are going to get out there, try to roast them up, some of these Lings. The Lings want to kill the Hellions, but good positioning on the ramp there means they don't take any damage, hardly any damage whatsoever, but it does keep the Hellions inside the base for just a second, allowing Bly more time to get out what he needs to deal with them back at home.
Yeah, a little sloppy by Bly, not paying close enough attention to his Lings, losing a few more than he ought to in that case, as the Hellions came out to give them a high five. 4 Hellions move across the map to put on a little bit of pressure on Bly. Bly is getting a Spire as we speak, getting out 10 more Lings to help defend against this aggression by our Terran player.
Yeah, and Banshee with Cloak, the follow-up here to this Hellion, so going Reaper into Hellion into Cloaked Banshees, the standard trifecta of harassment here from J King today. So again, nothing too crazy from him, but we'll see if that changes up at any point later on. A couple of Lings trying to harass that the reactor. They're not going to be able to break through that anytime soon. Just checking to see the timing on that third base, but here come 6 Hellions. Banshees are moving across the field as well. We'll see how Bly chooses to defend this, because right now he just has Lings coming out, does not have a Roach Warren waiting on that Spire, but it's quite a ways off.
That's actually pretty good defense by Bly as well, but this is really just to keep Bly occupied as he takes a 3rd command center, which is a little bit uncharacteristic from what we've seen of J King, but not to say that's not in his repertoire of builds. The 3rd is going down for our Zerg player, so about even with their expansion timings. And almost got the surround. He does get the surround on a lot of these Hellions. Manages to kill them. This is actually a pretty big loss for J King, even though his build didn't rely on these Hellions, but he got almost virtually no damage done with them. Their initial intention was to keep Bly honest. Now the Banshee is in the main base of Bly, and Bly is completely caught unawares of this too, losing quite a few drones. Does finally get a Overseer out with the Queens. He will be able to shoo it away. Oh, he managed to get a kill too. Oh, that hurts.
Takes it down. So yeah, so J King has lost 6 Hellions and a Banshee for basically 4 drones and 14 Lings, which is not a fair trade, I don't think, for any Zerg player. And right now, Bly is expecting these Cloak Banshees. He has Overseers out. He has a lot of Queens available. I'm not sure if the second Banshee will be able to do much of anything, especially considering there are mutas on the field. If they want to come back home and take it out, they can. Although Bly should be able to handle this just with a Queen or 2 here.
Yeah, this Queen will go down by the looks of it as well, which is a nice little kill for J King, as long as he doesn't lose this second Banshee, which it looks like indeed he will, as the Mutalisks are forced to retreat and clean it up, which is actually kind of nice for J King's part, buying some time in that respect as well, forcing the retreat of Bly.
And the Overlord pooping Creep here, making sure the 3rd base cannot land for at least some time. Creep does recede more quickly here in Legacy of the Void. It also builds more quickly, but again, by the time the Marines take that Overlord out, the Creep should start pushing on down. And yes, the command center will land here, assuming the mutas don't take it down. The amount of Marines and Widowmines here should be enough to shoo away the mutas at least, and they decide to find easier targets back at the natural, where there is a missile turret. However, trying to find an angle of attack are the mutas. They're going after this refinery, killing the workers in that refinery. Lesser players than J King would forget to replace those workers, and it would be a big problem for him. But so far, it looks like the mutas are just getting free reign on that refinery. Nobody's really come to defend it at all, and J King moving out across the map with some Marines and a couple Widowmines here, as well as a Medevac and a Liberators on the way, and Infestors on the production tab there for Bly.
Yeah, there's a Hive is almost done as well for Bly, as he is teching up real hard off 3 bases, probably likely to take a 4th after, if he could deflect this aggression, and it looks like he will indeed, with these Infestors on the field, and the army that he has left with the Queens in tow, and this creep spread is really excellent from our Acer player, able to see this army coming across, no surprises coming from his side of the map. Liberator does come out to shoo away these Mutalisks, but not after they do get some kills. The supplies are, frighteningly even right now.
Yeah, 10 SCVs falling to those mutas over the course of that entire harassment. It's 53 to 50 total harvesters. The full army returns home for J King, which is exactly what Bly wants to see. Taking down a Liberator out in the open field, and Bly right now, there's no threat of harassment from the Terran player for the next little bit here. The Hive should be able to finish. Acer Bly continuing to get up that drone count, and he should be in a very comfortable position here just in the next couple of minutes, assuming J King can't do something to slow him down.
That is interesting. The Hive I totally thought it finished. Did he cancel it by accident? Because it was definitely almost done researching. A hair away from researching. I think Bly might have made a big mistake there by accidentally canceling his Hive. That is interesting. But either way, he takes the 4th base, but the assault is on as as our Russian Terran player pushes through this little choke point, gets down his Widow Mines just in the nick of time. Will they get some good shots off? Oh, one hits the Overseer and a couple Lings. Not the most effective hits they could have had, and they will get cleaned up as this pressure will be delayed a little further.
And that's exactly what Bly's going for. Delay the pressure, delay the pressure, delay the pressure. He's an Ultralisk Den on the way. Getting those upgrades for the Ultras as well as Adrenal Glands for the Zerglings increases their attack speed by 40%, making them little DPS machines, assuming they can live. The Fungals, though, catching a bunch
nice
of
fungal.
Marines there. Another huge fungal, catching a whole group of Marines there, but wow, just absolutely taking that down. All that's left are a few handful of Marines, very, very low on HP, and they decided the prudent choice is to retreat. They will go back home. I think the Mutas managed to clean them up. And yeah, I mean, once again, just held off very ably there by Bly.
Yeah, that was an excellent hold by Bly. If anything, it was just a pressure that J-King was trying to put on him as he himself was tacking up, but he took a little bit more losses than he expected, and Bly got a little bit of a gift wrapped up nicely in the form of J-King. Actually, we have no vision of the Hive for J-King, so he's in the dark of what tech right now that Bly is going for, as Ultralisk tech is happening right now. Two Ultralisks are on the way, and a slew of melee upgrades.
So the Ultras won't have the full armor available to them, which is 8 total for any time soon here. But again, they will have enough armor to make these Marines think twice about attacking on in. The Corruptors, do they take the Medevac down before it can? Yes, Medevac does fall. A single Marine gets out, immediately gets eaten out by the Lings.
We have a second Medevac moving to the north. Oh, the Lings do get
trying
in.
To drop on in there, but yes, a full Ling run by here. There are enough Lings here to clean up the aggression at the third base. Lings absolutely massacring SCVs everywhere. They can find them. 28 SCVs have now fallen for J-King. They're trying to run. They're trying to go to the safety of the Marines. Finally, the SCVs, or the Zerglings, do mostly get cleaned up. There are still a few left here in the third base, though, continuing to absolutely massacre these SCVs. A huge reinforcing push coming in here from Bly as well. These Lings, again, have the Adrenal Glands upgrade. Ultras are going to follow this up. I don't know what J-King can do to hold this, maybe keep the high ground, but even that, with the Ultras coming up the ramp anytime soon here, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to hold off.
Right now, Bly is doubling the supply of our Russian Terran player as a fungal right on the ramp eliminates the rest of those Marines. Medevacs come in, but nothing left to heal as the Infestors are ruining the life of this third base as there's no workers left. The Mules are being taken out by some rogue Lings. Ultralisk tanking whatever they can. GG's called. And Bly takes game number 1 of this best of 3 in the round of 16 of the Gauntlet Legacy of the Void series Global Finals. Nice game. Well played by Bly. That run by really sealed the deal there, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. The run by sealed it, but I feel like the early game is what really made it for Bly. Holding off that aggression from J-King, the Reaper died, all the Hellions died, the Banshees died. They took 1 or 2 drones off of Bly, but in the end couldn't do anywhere near critical damage. Subsequent pushes did not do much well either, just because Infestors were out so soon, and Bly looking very, very good here in the early round.
Yeah, absolutely. He, as you mentioned, that initial push, that J-King was using just to apply pressure to the Zerg player, ended up losing nearly all of his Marines in that engagement, which wasn't intended to be an engagement to begin with, but Bly made it so, fungled him in place, and took a pretty decent lead in that respect right there, as he himself was teching up 2 Ultralisks, which was his end composition with the Infestors as well in tow. So excellent play by Bly in game number 1. We'll be heading to game number 2 very shortly, in fact, for Bly versus J-King. Guys, $1,000 on the line in this global finals for the Gauntlet StarCraft series, Legacy of the Void series, guys. Hit up that follow button if you want updates and, I guess, notifications for future events on this stream, guys. That'll be much appreciated. Falcon, what's your analysis of that game? What could have J-King done a little bit differently? I could name a few things, but I want to hear what you have to say on that.
Yeah, just J-King. Again, I just feel like the aggression, losing those units, a little bit of a miss micro on a couple of situations there, just really cost him that towards the early game. The middle game pushes weren't that strong. He had a couple Liberators, but the Mutas countered those fairly well. They really didn't get going at the same time. Just Bly had the answer for everything J-King tried to do. And what do you think he could have changed differently there?
Well, yeah, I agree with you absolutely there, but in respect to the Banshees especially, it's so traditional, very hard as a swarm-like, to send that second Banshee to go do aggression. After the first one did nothing, it got shut down hard. And then the second one, very, very much the same situation. And it's that sort of, predictability in build that I guarantee you Bly has faced hundreds and hundreds of times in Heart of the Swarm that is a little bit unlike J-King here. And maybe he was trying to go for a super standard build, knowing that he himself doesn't normally go super standard, to try to maybe psych out Bly. Perhaps that was it, because J-King's not a super standard player. So that alone is a cheese, in a way. But, that being said, Bly wasn't fooled, and he defended it more than adequately, and shut it down super hard, super fast. And that run by, too, a little bit sloppy. J-King was distracted on doing his own double drop, that he ended up getting a run by into his base that essentially ended the game.
Absolutely true. And again, by going standard, he might have been trying to fake out Bly, but I'm sure that Bly has practiced against that exact strategy 300,000 times.
Oh, yeah.
And when he saw the Reaper into the Hellions, into the Banshees, he said, I know exactly what to do, how to handle this. I bet he wanted to autopilot, made the response that was necessary, and then just pushed out with the Ultras and the Lings and got it done.
Yeah, guys, the brackets are on the screen right now. Bly taking the 1-0 lead so far. Guys, there is also games happening in the B stream as well, so please tune over there if you open up another tab or whatever. That is Gauntlet SC2, I should say twitch.tv/Gauntlet SC2B for the B stream. We've got Jack Attack and Drenok casting over there, which is pretty awesome. Guys, we are in game number 2 of this best of 3. To the north, to the south, we have the Red Zerg player. It is Bly.
And to the north, across the crazy narrow choke on this very weird map, we have the blue Terran player. It is J-King.
Now, I've seen a lot of fun games on this map. This is certainly one of the most exciting maps in the map pool. As you said, very weird, but very weird often brings new builds, new aggression styles, and definitely new strategies from these players, which is the point. This is why David Kim and crew decided to introduce a little bit, left to center maps that you don't normally see in the regular map pool, traditional map pool of StarCraft history, to introduce new meta and eliminate the same builds over and over again. And I think it's working so far. It's hard to tell. It's really early still in Legacy of the Void's history, but I think it's working so far.
It is. And I mean, this looks like it could be a 4-player map. It's so big, but the only places you can spawn are bottom left and top left. The other bases are completely expansion bases. There's a gold at the far, far end of the map. I don't think I've seen anybody ever take in any of the maps, any of the games that I've cast on this map before. It's just kind of weird that way. But yeah, there's this really narrow choke that you have to worry about right across the main way to get from your opponent to your base. And it just causes a lot of kind of chokes. People are afraid to use them sometimes, and it can cause some interesting strategies to be used, and a little bit, sometimes can be a little bit, I want to say, indecisive when pushing through that little narrow choke.
On this map, Roach Ravager is super popular, and I predict that's probably exactly what Bly is going to go for here, judging by the timing of his gas and pool. Expect the Roach Warren to go down very shortly, as it seems to be tradition on this map, especially from Bly and from we've seen various times by Nerchio. And there we go as Roach Warren just plops down right by that gas. This is something we've seen time and time again on this map. It's very good, especially with these chokes. The Ravager's Corrosive Bile ability is deadly, ever so deadly on this map. The Reaper is inside the natural of Bly, poking around, seeing no drones here. Couple Lings get popped out for Bly. Pretty standard, getting 6 Lings out to deal with the scouting Reaper.
Yep, and the Reaper again doesn't get any kills. KD8 charge does knock some Lings back, bringing them to very, very low health. The Reaper actually could pick up a kill or two here, depending on the micro. No, Bly moving the wounded Zerglings to the back. Excellent job. And the Reaper manages to stay alive. The first Roaches are in production. The Queens should pop out very soon as well, and it might be a time for the Reaper to say goodbye.
Yeah, that's a red flag for J-King right now. He sees there's still no drones at that natural base. He must know something is up, and he desperately wants to see what it is. But he doesn't want to lose this Reaper yet either. He wants to see what pops out of this this natural, and he will see shortly. No surprises are going to be had any longer as these Roaches punch that Reaper in the face as it dies a terrible, terrible death. And Bly's army moves across the map. A bunker goes down as we speak, as J-King's trying to find a way to shore up his defense for what Bly has in store for him.
Yeah, it's just a slowling roach attack here. Surprisingly, no speedlings at all, but they seem to be doing the job, pushing these Marines all the way back into the main base, leaving that natural fully undefended as the Ravagers come right on in. They need to kill that bunker. That'd be a priority target. There we go. Now getting the SCV building the bunker and then taking the bunker down itself, forcing a cancel there as well. Widowmine gets a shot.
Oh, nice.
One of the Ravagers, though, that helps quite a bit, but the Corrosive Bile used to take out the Widowmine. Excellent use of that ability. And I'm not sure if he wants to push up this ramp with the bunker at the top there, but he's making a go of it anyway.
Yeah, Bly needs to do some critical damage here as he has about 10 workers behind. So the clock is ticking for Bly as this attack has commenced. He only has a few Ravagers here and a couple Lings. These workers with Marines are going to try to push back these Ravagers. Ravagers not exactly the tankiest of units, but the Lings manage to start shredding these SCVs as they're caught out in below the ramp, and these SCVs are trying to repair this wall, but the wall does go down, so the wall is wide open for the time being, but there's no Lings to flood in, at least not yet. The tank is out though, and siege is up, and this again puts a real hurt on these Ravagers as they're already quite low in health.
It does. They don't do bonus damage to Ravagers. Tanks do not, since the Ravagers are not considered armored units, so they don't take as much damage as they could, but still it's quite a bit of splash damage, and the Ravagers decide to actually retreat on home, having delayed the mining at that second base long enough for Acer Bly's satisfaction.
Yeah, that was nice at least, and he did manage to get drone up quite significantly while he realized that push was no longer going to do any further damage, and is now ahead of J King at 30 drones versus 24 SCVs. But there is a tank drop happening, but looks like Bly is indeed ready for this. But these tank drops are still annoying, despite the delay of the tank shot, which does help the Zerg defend a little bit more effectively. But now we have some Marines moving across the map with this tank, this flying tank for support. There is a lone queen at the front and is in very, very much danger right now as it gets picked off right now. Actually, it does not die quite yet. But there's only a handful of units right now. More Ravagers morphing in. Not a whole lot here for our Zerg player. This is actually a healthy number of Marines for J King. Oh, that tank is getting pretty low, though.
Yep, pretty low in health. The siege tank is moving to a better position to get some more shots off on the Ravagers. The Marines decide to actually head all the way home with some medevac support there as well. And can a third base get thrown down by Bly? He's going to try to make it happen. He doesn't quite have the minerals for it yet. But the Ravagers are going to push up. Corrosive Bile thrown down. The continued dodging by J King. He's not taking too many hits from things that can move from that Corrosive Bile, which is a sign of a good player. But again, pushing on in with a couple of medevacs, trying to find a good place to land here with the tank, and goes ahead and lands right on that high ground, going to town on the drones as well. The Queens trying to shoo away that medevac. More Corrosive Biles, missing completely everything, and the third base does get established by Bly.
Yeah, Bly managed to fend off the attack and is actually going for a little counter-aggression as he's trying to secure his own third base, as any good SE2 player does, just preventing the third from going down for J King if there were to be a third. And although it doesn't look to be quite yet in the cards for J King, as he's still trying to saturate his natural base. The Ravagers are putting heavy pressure here, managing to kill the front of this, actually putting on a little bit more damage than expected, as those tanks are a little bit far back. Now just hitting the Roaches and Ravagers. Not a whole lot of Marines here to deal with this. No Marauders on the field either, as these Marines are absolutely evaporating to these Roaches and Ravagers. And just dodging that Corrosive Bile does J King, but it is pretty close here. Doing a little bit more damage than he ought to be is Bly, and he's taking full advantage of this.
He absolutely is. Meanwhile, back at the Zerg base, the siege tank did die with the medevac along with it to the Queens. 3 Ravagers and a Roach trying to kill as many SCVs as they can while they are kiting away there. The siege tank splash does take out a single Roach there as well, just continuing the pressure on here as Bly. That's what Ravager allows Zerg to do in Legacy of the Void, is keep some pressure on, which is something they're not really used to doing, but a lot of Zergs have taken to it like ducks to water and are doing very well, especially on maps like this.
Yeah, that tank has to retreat in this case. This is an excellent pressure by Bly, as his third is now fully up, and he's just still building more units, getting some drones, 10 drones on the way, upgrades 1-1, and really stunting the economy or potential economy for our Terran player.
Yeah, right now it's 35 harvesters to 52 drones. Bly definitely in the lead that way. He has a 3 base economy to the 2 base of the Terran. Resources lost tab shows about 1,700 minerals lost for the Zerg to 3,500 lost for the Terran. Another huge push forward with just straight Ravager. SCVs forced to pull off the line to try to defend against this. Will they get in there or not? More Corrosive Bile being thrown down, not hitting much of anything at all. The tank trying to splash away at these Ravagers, but not quite in position to do it. The Marine and a single Marauder Pushing on in, trying to kill these roaches, but again, just taking shots from these Ravagers, and the roach is gone. All that's left are these 3 Ravagers, but again, killing as many SCVs as possible. More and more reinforcements streaming in from the south side there for Bly. King is definitely on his back foot here.
We have at least 12 roaches on the way heading across the map as we speak, as this pressure is unrelenting. Bly does not want to let J-King get that natural fully up and running, and definitely not letting him get a third, even though it doesn't look like J-King had any plans on getting a third. As we've previously seen in the qualifiers on this exact map, J-King does not take thirds. It's not in his build order on this map. But now he has multiple tanks in these medevacs trying to make something happen. Some sort of mobility attack here against these Roach Ravagers, but there's just so many Roaches right now and Ravagers to support them. And this is looking pretty dire for our Russian Terran.
Yeah, even with the tanks, there are just too many Roaches, too many Ravagers are absolutely locking down this natural base. The tanks on the high ground taking shots at the same time. Brosabal being thrown down and killing everything on the high ground. The last tank is gone. J-King, not sure what's left, and that's a GG from J-King. And it looks like Bly takes the series 2-0. We'll be moving on to the next round.
Yeah, excellent play by Bly. I could see the idea what J-King was going for here, but Bly shut it down with absolute authority, and that was beautiful to see. And that constant pressure, I think he did a lot more damage than he was expecting to when he was taking his third, and he just had his handful of Ravagers with a couple Roaches just to keep pressure, make sure to keep the Terran honest on his side of the map, so he could take his third without worrying about counter aggression. And yeah, and it ended up killing a lot of workers, destroying the wall. The very wide ramp there, so the placement of the siege tanks initially for J-King were pretty poor, as they were near the ramp leading into the natural from the main, and so they're just out of range as Bly was able to sneak his Roaches and Ravagers up the ramp with very little contest there.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with the hits, again, Ravagers are not armored. They don't take that bonus damage from tanks at all, so even though they were taking hits and they're taking splash damage, the larger unit size as well means they don't hit as many of the Ravagers as it would be if they were Roaches that were coming in as well. So the Ravager is a really nice unit for Zerg right now. Does very well against Terran. We're going to see it quite a bit, especially on this map. It seems like the Roach Ravager pushes with a heavy emphasis on the Ravager are very successful against Terran, and Bly used it fully to his advantage.
Alright guys, little update in the B stream. Senin and Nerchio's tied 1-1 right now. So guys, if you want to tune to that as well, open that in a new tab. Yeah, I know, Senin, the hero of Twistcat, and of Twitch chat, also known as Senin and Nerch, man. That's a pretty sick series, guys. That's twitch.tv/GauntletSC2B. That is the B stream running games as well throughout the round of 16 and the round of 8. Guys, this is the Gauntlet StarCraft Legacy of the Void series Global Finals, brought to you by ESL, Nexus Recall, and Falcon Paladin. The event is sponsored by Ctone and the Gauntlet crew. Follow them on Twitter at GauntletSC2. I'm Bobby Awesome, with me is Falcon Paladin. Dude, we just saw the first series go down. Was it any surprise, though? I mean, as strong as we've seen J-King play, but was it really a surprise? Or did it just go as expected?
I honestly thought that the top Terran player from Russia on the EU ladder would make a bit of a better showing, honestly, against Bly. But again, considering how strong Bly has been, just representing Ukraine, I don't know. I expected to see maybe a little bit of a better response there. But in the end result was not too unexpected.
No, I completely agree with you as well. I mean, the games we've previously seen from J-King, really alluded to a higher level of play in this case. Maybe it's just an off day. Definitely no knock against him, as he would beat me playing with one hand. All right, guys, we're going to do actually a couple player intros right now by the looks of it. Player intros?